And we are back on the studios. Hello, Ava.
Hello, hello.
Hello. We are talking about
Perception.
just the way we perceive the situations and things around us. What is your point of view, Ava? What do you think perception means?
Yeah, it's the way we, as we said, perceive the world around us, and we can perceive through our senses, and then our senses will then be translated in our mind, and we create a story about ourselves because we relate to everything around us.
Definitely. And the way we see the things, even when the situation might be the same one, it might not feel the same one for everybody. And that's why perception, it is the way we perceive the world around us, and the way we see and the way we feel the world around us. And actually, I'm gonna separate that, because the way you see might not always be related to the perception or the way you feel.
What you see is in a sense neutral. It's just the vehicle through your eyes. You see something, but then it is your mind that creates the story that what you're seeing is, it gives you a definition of what you're
story.
Yeah, it gives you the story. So what you see is then translated into your thoughts.
And that's why a mindset, a strong mindset, is important to interact with your ways, with your life, with the way you perceive things, because depending on that, you might get engaged or not into a situation that is not that beneficial for you, right? Depending on how strong your mindset is gonna either shorten the time that you will get between achieving your dreams and not achieving it.
Yeah, your thoughts dictate your life. It creates, it dictates the actions that you take and how you feel about a situation.
Definitely. And that's why we're talking today about perception. Now, I'm using an example, right? Which is like an spheric example. Imagine that you are at the park, like I mentioned before. You are at the park, you are in different locations, but in the same park, right? And imagine that something is happening on the park, right? 10% of the people are closer to the situation, and everybody else, 80% of the people in the park, aren't that close to the situation, right?
Yeah.
Let's suppose that I am at the center of the park, which is the situation that's happening. Let's say somebody's crying, for example, and that you are a bit further away, like a couple of meters far from the line, right? You might not even realize that that person next to me is crying.
No.
But you are at the same park, right? So we are perceiving the same situation in a different point of view, in a different perception, because I am closer to the exit, to the core of what is happening on that situation. But in the other way as well, I'm gonna twist it another way around, because I want to be inclusive, right? And I want everybody to be included in this example, right? But in the other way around you, which is not the place where I am in this example at the park, around you there are other situations happening that might be stopping you from seeing the things that are happening around me.
Yeah, because I'll be looking at something completely different, or
your perception will be focused in a different place.
Even that doesn't mean that what Zoila's experiencing isn't right or wrong. Like it's happening, right? But because I'm not focusing on it, I don't see it. And it's the same thing with thoughts. We can look at, for example, our careers, and or even just being in the studio. Zoila could be like, oh, this is going well, because she
this is going well.
Well, she hosts it, right? And I just joined her, and I'm co-hosting, so maybe I'm thinking, oh, am I doing this right, or was that supposed to happen? And Zoila's just super chill and I might be a bit stressed out because I'm like, what's
Which
happening,
just
you know?
happened.
And the thing is, we're in the same room, and the exact same thing is happening.
Yeah.
She's touching all these buttons, and she's
I'm
feeling
moving
calm.
everywhere.
And she's feeling calm, and I might be like, stressed out, for example. I'm not stressed out, but I'm just saying I could be because I'm like, she might ask me to do something, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? Even though I'm looking at the exact same buttons.
Yeah, so that is an amazing example of perception as well. Just being here, not only at the park, like I was saying before, but just being here, just where you are. Be aware that people around you may not perceive things the same way, the same strength, and the same level of awareness that you are perceiving your life at this very moment.
Yeah, which doesn't mean that your perception is worse or better than another person. It's just we are on a different, as you said before, vibration, frequency. Yeah.
It's in a different location, in a different vibration, in a different place, which may affect the way you see it.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, like, let's say 1 + 1 is 2, right?
Really?
Yeah,
that's arguable.
Yeah, but for example, you have 2 kids at school, and one is like, oh yeah, it's 2, and another doesn't know the answer. Would you say that the other one is less smart because he doesn't know the answer? But it could be that he knows so much more on a different topic. Does that make him smarter or less smart, right? So it really is how we perceive things and how we label and define things.
Yeah. Definitely, it's no less smart, it's just a different perception.
Yeah,
it might be even younger, and that's why he doesn't or she doesn't know.
Hasn't learned it yet.
Yeah, exactly. So
doesn't mean that they're not smart and they're not capable of like learning it, or as I said, they might know something that the other person doesn't know.
Yeah, definitely, and that affects everything. That is why the background as well, the cultural background, will affect you and your way of achieving your goals and your perception in life, as in to develop yourself as an individual, as a person who wants to achieve certain goals, right? And like you said, sometimes it's not that second individual is less smart or less capable, but sometimes we put ourselves as that individual if our perception is caught up into cultural backgrounds, into things like, for example, a cultural element is if you don't study XYZ, you're not gonna get the job that you want. And that's a lie. It is good to be prepared. It is good to take time to study the things that you want, but it's not a must to follow all the backgrounds that somebody else's follow in order to achieve your goals. It works for somebody else, doesn't mean that it's gonna work for you, doesn't mean that it has to stop you. If you can do it, do it, but if you cannot do it other way. There's always different ways, different avenues in which you can take and drive to achieve the things that you want to achieve, to go through the pathway that you want to go.
Yeah, as you're saying, like, no one's life is the same. And I was just thinking, especially being, self-employed or freelancing, life, there is no one way. And there will be people telling you, like, if you take this step and this step, you'll get, a six-figure business.
Oh,
but it's like, if it doesn't align with who you are and you don't feel like that's the way, like, some people will love to do, TikTok videos or, and other people are more like they shine when they write, when they create blog posts, so people will love you for who you are and how you show up as yourself. But a lot of people, I think, are afraid of being themselves because of that society mentality. And so that's what we're encouraging you guys to do, is to have a look. Is it really is that really how life is, or is it because someone literally just said this is how it's done, right? It's like,
gotta be really careful with what you perceive out of the words that comes from somebody else, because somebody else's duty is to be themselves. Now your duty is to look after yourself And that means you have to be careful on what you think that somebody else tried to tell you, because in reality they might try to tell you everything and you might be right, but the decisions that you take from that point of view are the ones that are going to affect you in reality. Because, for example, Ava, we are on the same industry.
Mm-hmm.
You are a coach, I am a coach, but maybe my coaching, my strategies, and indeed my strategies might not apply to your coaching.
Yeah, I think we have a very different approach, or at least we're helping people, but we do it in different ways, because I'm different than you and you're different than me. Doesn't mean that Zoila's way is better than mine or that mine is better than hers. It's just that we do things differently.
Yeah.
And people will align with Zoila more than me, and there'll be people that find my methods or something better, fit more with them.
Yeah. The thing is to be out there.
You know how when you're at school, you have different teachers, and some teachers you're like, oh, you love them and they're great. And then the next year, the same subject, but a different teacher, and suddenly you have really bad grades. I remember we had I think it was physics. Yeah, we had two different physics teachers. And one, it was like really complicated, and everyone said, oh, it's so hard and everything. And then the next year we had a different like physics teacher, and he was explaining everything like super simple. So I got really good marks, but the people who always had good marks, I think they weren't that great anymore, because it's just of the teacher shift doesn't mean that they're now stupid, when last year they all got like A star, A plus. So it really is how we perceive, and if something, the environment can really like shift things for us, but it's always up to us to decide
to take actions.
If it's something that, like, I think as kids we have less power, because obviously we're in school, we have to interact with these people.
We are not aware that we have power, and that's why. But you, in theory, you should have the same power. But because you're not aware of your abilities, then you don't use the power under your arms. But like you said, it is important to be aware of what is going on. Because if you're not if you're not aware of what is going on, then there's nothing you could do, because you could only use the things that you're aware of, right? Now, tips: how to use the perception to our benefit, how to use how we perceive the world around us to our benefit. Any ideas, Ava?
Yeah, so for example, like the first thing that is usually a clue on how you're interpreting something is your emotions. If you are unhappy or feeling stressed out about something, you must be having a thought that is causing that emotion.
That stress,
So what are you stressed about, and what are you making that mean about you? So maybe you're stressed about the dishes. What are you making that mean about you is maybe that, you haven't done your job. Or now the children aren't going to have plates tomorrow. Or like, what are you stressing, and what are you making it mean about you? And then realize that it's not the end of the world. If how other people are going to interpret the situation, because the kids might don't even care about if the dishes are done right or not, but you might be really stressed out about it, while other people literally don't care.
So another example, another tip as well: be really aware. Your perception can drive your imposter syndrome. It can be driven by the imposter syndrome. So be aware that not because you think it necessarily is true, not because you think that something is negative, it doesn't mean that necessarily is negative for everybody. Meaning, if you have a thought of an imposter syndrome related to imposter syndrome, be aware that only creating actions is gonna give you the results that you want, or the answer that you're looking for. I'm explaining a bit more clear, right? The imposter syndrome is normally taken from the perceptions that you are receiving. If you want to, like, for example, if you want to achieve a goal or a dream, and you find yourself looking at somebody else's that is working on the job that you want for yourself, it is very likely that at this moment you're gonna find something that that person has that you supposedly in your mind don't have, or vice versa. You might find yourself saying, oh, I am better than XYZ, which is equally bad. I'm saying, don't listen to the imposter syndrome, but if you do, please try and do one action that's gonna break your mindset for the better. You're gonna break your perception, negative perception, for the better. That's gonna help you scale to the next level. Because either you think that you're better than the person that has the job, or that you don't have what it takes to have that job. That's completely irrelevant. What is relevant, what is good, what is gonna help you achieve your dreams is if you do one action, one simple action towards what you're dreaming. Forget about comparing yourself with somebody else's, because that comes with the imposter syndrome. You compare yourself. Forget about that. And if you do, well, don't forget it. That doesn't even make any difference here. Don't forget it. Compare if you want to, but don't stop yourself because you think you don't have what it takes. Don't stop yourself because you think your perception is telling you you need to do X, Y, Z to get the 6 figures, like we were mentioned before. 6 figures salary, or the money that you want. Just do one. Break it down into small chunks and start doing. Because at the moment you do things, you just call in the universe. You're saying, I am doing what I'm meant to do, what I signed up when I came here to this world. And your work, you sign up to be yourself. You didn't sign up to be, I didn't sign up to be somebody else's. I didn't sign up to be Ava. I signed up to be Zoila. I could try. I could try.
Do an impression of me later.
Yeah.
What is that supposed to be?
No, I'm just trying. I just try.
Good try.
I'm
good
really,
try.
really bad. I'm impressing. But Mike, back to the point.
Yes, of course.
I am meant to be myself, and therefore be doing things that are aligned to my nature, to who I am, to the creative nature of myself. Okay? Do you agree or disagree?
I do. I do agree. I do. We all came here to be ourselves. We're not supposed to be anyone else, but we forget that, or we unintentionally, become everyone else around us, because we just take on board what is around us and forget to listen to what it is that we came here to do,
And we came here to be ourselves.
Well,
not to compare ourselves with somebody else's.
Well, comparing comes from lack, right? And the more
perception.
Perception.
Yeah.
So if you perceive that there is not enough for you, then what you're putting on. Remember those glasses that I was talking about. So you're putting let's say the yellow glasses, and the yellow represents, the lack. So then everything around you, once you put them on, is lacking for you. So why not put the glasses of possibility? Let's say that's the blue glasses. And now suddenly the world becomes blue because there's possibility everywhere.
Exactly. Perception is the way you perceive, the way you see the world around you. And I think it's been really clear to speak through the ways that we think perception is. But if you have any ideas, if you have any other different point that you think that we might have forgotten, you can do it in this session, right? We have social media. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, just leave a comment on the video. Or if you are watching this on our radio show every Saturday, 1 p.m., 98.7 FM, Radio Cardiff, and you're listening. Zygerfit, Zoila Garman, and Ava Latkoska co-hosting with me, right? And you just leave us a message, leave us what you think, let us know what you think, send us a text. We'll be more than happy to hear your point of view. I hope this has been encouraging.
For me, for sure.
Yeah, and helpful, because the mission of Zygerfit is to help people to overcome limiting beliefs. Now, stay tuned. This has been a pleasure for everybody here. Now, I just want